Senator from Oregon.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise today to talk about an issue that affects the health of our children in every single state, and I'm going to ask unanimous consent that after I complete remarks, Senator Blumenthal, Senator Markey, Senator Boxer, and Senator Warren be afforded the opportunity to continue to address the same topic.
Without objection, so ordered.
And I'd also invite my colleagues to jump in if they would like at any point to exchange views as well. So this issue is one that we have known about for a very long period of time, which is that tobacco addiction destroys lives. I grew up in a family where my mother didn't smoke and my father didn't smoke, but they both came from large families, many brothers and sisters, and it seemed like every single year when I was young, one of my aunts or my uncles died from smoking. They died from cancer, they died from heart disease, they died from emphysema. And this carnage was just all too apparent. And anyone who has taken the slightest look at this issue knows that the statistics just are unbelievable. The number of deaths and illnesses caused, the numbers of years lost, the degradation of the quality of life of individuals. For this reason, it had long been a topic here in the Senate that nicotine, the primary acting element in tobacco, should be considered a drug. It is a drug. It has all these impacts. And we have a Food and Drug Administration. The Food and Drug Administration should be able to regulate it for the health and welfare of our nation. And back in 2009, we debated just such a law here on the floor of the Senate and across the way in the House, and that law was adopted. And so we anticipated that in short order, regulations would be issued, and they would help address particularly the effort of tobacco companies to produce new products designed to essentially produce nicotine tobacco addicts among our children, to entice our children into smoking or chewing, this whole variety, this continuum of products. But here we are, years later. It's no longer 2009, it's 2015. 6 years later, and we have no regulation. And during that time, a great deal has happened. Many new products have been introduced in the never-ending quest of the tobacco companies to find what they call replacement smokers. That is, young folks who will continue to buy their products as their current customers die because they use their products. And so 6 years have passed, and no action out of the administration. Year after year, we've pushed. We've called as senators, we've talked about it on the floor, we've held meetings with the key officials, and it's always been, we're almost there, we're working on it. We know how important it is. But while this process has gone along so slowly, millions more of our children have become addicted to tobacco. And one of the main instruments that the tobacco industry is using are flavors designed to target children. We can see here particularly flavors in the e-cigarette category. And we have a whole variety. We have coffee, we have cherry, we have apple, we have cherry bomb flavoring. I was told today on the phone that there's a Captain Kangaroo flavor, there's a Scooby-Doo flavor, there's a gummy bear flavor. Now these flavors are not designed to entice adults into becoming smokers, because the industry knows that very rarely does an individual start to use tobacco products after the age of 21. It is the youth who experiment and then the nicotine as an addictive drug does its work and turns them into lifetime users. And that is where, of course, the money is. Now, I was asked in an interview today how it is that the tobacco companies say that these products are not targeted at children. And I responded very simply. It's the big lie. No individual can look at the flavors of these products and not know that they're targeting our children. So what has happened in the last few years is the e-cigarette industry is the most successful of the products that the tobacco companies have tested. And in fact, in just the last year alone, use by our high school students has tripled. And that means that we now have 2 million high school, the survey was the previous 30 days. In the previous 30 days, 2 million of our high school students had utilized e-cigarettes. So the tobacco campaign is working, which means they are hard at work compromising the health and welfare of our children and leading them down a path to suffering and death. And that's unacceptable. So we are here today, a number of us, to simply say to our own administration, our executive branch, get the regulations done. They have now been forwarded from the Food and Drug Administration, from the FDA, to the group, the Office of Management Budget, that does the final review of those regulations. Get the regulations done and make sure that they are strong regulations. Do not put in a clause that grandfathers all the products and exempts them from regulation that have been produced up till now. Such a grandfather clause would tear the heart out, tear the guts out of the entire effort to regulate these killer products. And certainly regulate the flavors. That is the key core strategy of addicting our children. Do not ignore that key core strategy. So this is something very real that this body here debated and decided to do and turn it over to the executive branch. It is way past time for the executive branch to act. So we are asking for quick and powerful, forceful action to stop the carnage that is ensuing from the failure in these regulations. So several colleagues are coming to the floor to join this conversation. And Senator from Connecticut, Senator Blumenthal, I believe is planning to jump in next, followed by Senator Markey, and then Senator Warren.